On today's show, Ashley Salloway is in studio to talk about the 20-year anniversary of the 9/11 attacks and how the Prosper community is remembering it.
And football season continues on. We tackle the story on Rock Hill's first female football player along with her other activities. These stories and more on this edition of Hilltop News. Welcome back, Blue Hawks, to this all-new season of Hilltop News. From Studio 1060, I'm Kyla Lewis.
And I'm Bronwyn Liber. We have worked so hard leading up to today, so sit back and enjoy our first show.
We are remembering the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks.
The Prosper Fire Department's Remembrance Ceremony was held Saturday at Children's Health Stadium. I attended the event along with Ashley Salloway. I know I definitely shed a few tears while in attendance. Ashley, it was such a moving ceremony to honor the lives lost nearly 20 years ago. Wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would. None of us students were alive during that event, but we can all feel the impact it had on our community. This Saturday marked 20 years since the attacks of 9/11. September 11th had an impact on everyone in the nation, especially those who were serving. We went out to highlight their stories and the impact that day had on many people.
I'll never forget it. He said, if you're not listening, he said, you need to turn the news on right now. America's under attack.
We were sitting there watching it in the office, and we looked at each other and said, we're going to war.
So we were actually watching it when the second one got hit. And of course, I tried to call some family members, and it was just totally berserk. There was no way to get a hold of anybody.
While 9/11 had an impact on everyone who experienced it, it is also a reminder of the promise to never forget.
So for me and my family, 9/11 is just more than a day. It's something that's going to live with us forever and ever. And I think conveying that to the younger generation so they understand the horrors of war.
And I wish people could, you can't really relive it, because unless it happens, you don't get it. You know, we can talk about it, you can watch the videos and all the harrowing things that have happened and stuff that happened that day.
It is something that's absolutely worth remembering because there's a lot of people who lost their lives that day.
The Prosper community remembers the importance of September 11th by holding an annual ceremony to remember the fallen. With the help of Prosper ISD, this year's was the biggest one to date, hosted for the first time at Children's Health Stadium.
To be united, we needed to be able to come together and find peace in the devastation that we were all experiencing.
Event highlights include a flyover, the Blue Note Choir singing America the Beautiful, and the Fire Department Piper playing Amazing Grace. The focal point of the ceremony was the Prosper Fire Department's mobile 9/11 memorial, a steel beam from the World Trade Center. The fire department allowed citizens to pay their respects for the fallen by touching the beam.
I don't ever want another 9/11, but I sure miss September the 12th. You couldn't find a flag on the store shelf. Nobody hated each other. Nobody hated each other because of the color of your skin or whether you were Republican or Democrat, whether you were blue, red, whether you were Jewish, whether you were Christian, whether you were an atheist. Nobody cared. They loved each other because you were an American. And somewhere along the line, we've lost that. And somewhere along the line, we got to get that back. I don't ever want another 9/11 to bring this country back together, but this country needs to get back together.
And it's so true. We can't forget exactly what we are remembering on September 11th. We're remembering the people who passed, but also the people who risked their lives to save them.
Thank you, Ashley. The Rock Hill Theater program takes the story of astronomer Henrietta Leavitt into the Black Box for their first fall production. Emily Wilhouse reports.
Guys! Go!
From Starlight to Spotlight, the theater program takes on the challenges of the Black Box to perform the first production, Silent Sky.
We don't have as big of a space, obviously, since it's the Black Box. So we've got an ocean liner that can also double as the observatory. So certain areas can switch around whenever we need them to switch around during transitions, compared to in the auditorium where we could completely just take things off the stage and put them back on.
The student actors enjoy learning how to break old habits like cheating out and projecting in order to adapt to the Black Box environment.
So being Henrietta has been awesome. It's much different because I'm on stage the entire time and there's really no area for me to go off. I have to work for all audiences and it's been a really fun experience.
Along with the challenges of the black box, the actors are also pushed to do justice to the true story they are portraying.
They've been doing a lot of research on the characters, and for some of them it's really easy because like the Rhys Jones, who plays Henrietta Leavitt, has a lot of source material. You know, you can go online or you can go in books and find out all about Henrietta Leavitt and who she was and where she came from and what she did. It's well documented now. But other characters in this story weren't actually real people. They just serve as like a lot of different people that may have influenced her one way or the other in her life.
The Rock Hill Theatre program is ready to reach for the stars on September 23rd for opening night. For Hilltop News, I'm Emily Wilhouse.
Starting today, you can purchase tickets on the Rock Hill Theatre website.
At the last pep rally, the crowd went wild during the Bollywood dance performance. Aiden Richmond caught up with the newest member to see what his motivation was behind that dance.
After striking a pose and a toss of his hat, Junior Naranjan Swaminathan caused the gym to erupt in cheers.
That was amazing. Like, as like a person who hasn't had, so I was virtual last year fully, and social interaction was at 0, so that was very in contrast. Like, crowd erupting, it felt amazing. The hype was just exhilarating, and I would love for that to happen again in like the future.
Seeing how the crowd reacted to one single member of the team, it brought more attention to the Bollywood dance group, and now are working to change perception.
But mainly in Bollywood movies, you got your girls and you got your guys. If it was just girls, there would be a lot more.
With no formal training, Nirjan used YouTube to learn the dance style, but his teammates are hoping for more experience and increasing the number of public performances.
And we're looking into more performances, as in like pep rallies and the spring show. We will also participate in the talent show this year as well. And any like cultural events, any opportunity we get that we have time for, we will be able to perform for.
While breaking new ground for the team this year, with Naranjan and having everyone back, keep an eye out for them because they still have lots to come. For Hilltop News, I'm Aiden Richmond.
You can catch Bollywood's next routine happening at the October 1st pep rally.
Both tennis and volleyball played last night. Connor Fuxa is in studio to recap those games and preview the rest of the week for sports.
Last night, volleyball faced off against the Colony. They took home a dominant win, sweeping the match 3-0. Tennis also had a match last night. They played away against Wiley East. They brought home a tight win, 11-8. With both of those wins, both volleyball and tennis remain undefeated in district. Football's last game was last Thursday against Liberty, where they took a loss 43-38. They look to rebound off that game this Friday at home against Princeton. Football has typically been seen as an all-male sport. Blake Schmalo highlights one girl on Rock Hill's freshman football team who is breaking barriers every week when she suits up.
Good. Every day, every practice, every game, freshman Hayden Stein is making history as the Blue Hawks' first female football player. But her story doesn't stop there. She's a triple threat like none other. Hayden is an offensive tackle on the freshman blue team. However, she is also taking down her opponents in wrestling as well as the tuba of her marching band.
Hayden has adapted well to being a student athlete. She's juggling not only being the first female football player, but also she's a member of the band, and being, ninth grade student, having her taking care of her academics. She's done a great job prioritizing, communicating with me when she needs to take care of band and when she's here at football.
A morning for Hayden Stein starts off at marching band, where she leaves early to go to football. She then leaves football early to go back to band once class starts. Afterwards, she heads straight to her wrestling period for practice, all before finally heading to her high school academic courses. Hayden says she doesn't always get a lot of sleep due to balancing everything, but a big help is when she has time to get her homework done in class.
4 guys deep, on the lines, loud.
With all this going on, Hayden isn't the only one having to adjust. Since her first day, the coaches have had to change some things around when working with her on football, but also on things that other players would never even have to think twice on. One example being that Hayden gets her own locker room, which she says is pretty sweet.
Well, I make a lot of mistakes, but the coaches, they're patient with learning, and they help out a lot, and they're just really supportive.
She believes her talents are in band and wrestling since football is still new to her, but she does plan to continue to play throughout school and any other opportunities she may get. Hayden does not allow any of these challenges to tackle her love for her activities, but instead she tackles them. For Hilltop News, I'm Blake Shelma.
Make sure to check out Hayden on the field tomorrow here at our home field at 5:30. Thank you for tuning in to the start of Season 2. For Hilltop News, I'm Connor Fuxa.
I'm Bronwyn Liber.
And I'm Kyla Lewis. Keep rocking, Blue Hawks.